Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Timothy here. We are going to do another flashback draft. I had fairly positive feedback from the Odyssey drafts, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And next up on our list are the triple Ravnica flashback drafts. So, a couple disclaimers here. I have never drafted this set before at all. This will be the first time I've ever drafted it, nor do I know every card in the set. I did a little bit of looking at the set ahead of time, but I'm no expert. So I'm going to get laughed at here. I'm going to make some mistakes. I'm not going to play well. Might misread some stuff, but we're all doing it in the spirit of having a little bit of fun and just kind of embracing an older format that we don't get to play anymore. Triple Ravnica, as I understand, is a very well loved set. It focuses, or it was the introduction of the guild system, or at least like identifying what the color pairs were. They gave like a real identity to the color pairs for the first time. And I have played through Return to Ravnica block. This is structured a little bit differently. In Return to Ravnica, the most recent of the Ravnica blocks, all of the guilds were present across the first two sets, and then Dragon's Maze, which was the third set in that block, had all 10 guilds present within that set. In the original Ravnica block, the guilds were separated from set to set. So it's a Ravnica Guild Pact Ascension, I believe, and we're going to be playing Triple Ravnica, which only has 4 of the guilds. So you're not going to see Izzet here, you're not going to see Rakdos, so on and so forth. You're going to see, I want to say the 4 guilds are Selesnya, Golgari, Boros, and Dimir. And from what I understand is you want to draft, if you end up in 2 guilds, you want to draft a guild that overlaps in a color. So you don't necessarily, if you find yourself drafting Boros, which is red-white, it's kind of a mistake to then start drafting Golgari, which is green-black. You want to draft guilds that overlap with one another. Now, again, my ignorance is going to show here because I don't know what the best cards are. I do know what this card does. I'm going to have to read a lot here. This basically makes all of your opponent's stuff come in tapped, which seems like a fine card. I do think this format's slower. From your graveyard on, this is like an anti-mill card. Vigilant creatures, other creatures you can control get +0/+2 and have vigilance. Probably seems decent. Overwhelm is a card I've played with before. Brain spoil, destroy target creature that isn't enchanted. This is a mini enchantment set as well. So compulsive research is strong. That's a card I like quite a bit. Muddle the mixture. I mean, I'm going to take my rare, I think, and just roll with it because I don't really know what to expect here. I think this Pinger is pretty good. I know Stinkweed Imp is a good card. Spark Mage Apprentice would probably be fine. I'm sure there are a good number of 1 toughness creatures, with Selesnya being one of the guilds. Overwhelm is basically like an overrun, but it doesn't give trample, which is the real appeal here. I think compulsive research might be close to just the correct pick. I'm going to start off with my rare here, and like I said, I'm basically drafting this for the first time the same way I would draft, a new set and try out different rares. This card I'm not too crazy about, so let's look through the pack real quick and then talk about stuff. Vindictive Mob enters the battlefield, sack a creature, can't be blocked by Saprolings. Kind of sweet little thing there. There is a Golgari Rot Farm here. Unfortunately, it does not match the colors of the card we first picked. There's also Thundersong Trumpeter, which I think is a good card. When it dies, deals 2 damage to you. No, thank you. Twisted Justice is, I'm pretty sure, bad. It's an edict, but for 6 mana, although you do draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power. Crown of Convergence, I don't know if this is good or not, so I'm sure it's fine in a Selesnya deck, but it doesn't seem like what we want. I know this rare is fine. I'm not sure whether this one is or not. I'm kind of leaning towards Thundersong Trumpeter and put myself towards Boros. I don't know how highly you should be taking gold cards, and it's possible I just want Golgari Rot Farm, but I believe this is just a good card. It's a kind of a tapper. It stops a creature from attacking or blocking for the turn, so it's pretty sweet. It's also a common, and it was an uncommon in its most recent printing, which means something to me. So we're going to try it out. And as I'm going along, think about what you would take and let me know in the comments below, like which of these are good cards and which ones I shouldn't be taking. Fist of Ironwood seems pretty good if I end up in a token deck. There's Boros Garrison, which I'm pretty safe saying is a good card. Like anytime you get these Karoos, they call them, or bounce lands, whatever you want to call them, and they're on color, I imagine they've got to be good. This card I do not know. 4 mana, 1/3. Players play with the top card of their libraries. Revealed flies. All right, so an information card. Vitu Gaziano makes 1/1s. There's a cycle, I guess it's a partial cycle in this set, but there are 4 of these lands, 1 for each guild, that do something related to the guild. Infectious Host. When it dies, target player loses 2 life. 3 mana, 1/1. Suppression Field punishes activated abilities. Centaur Safeguard, 3 mana, 3/1. When it dies, you can gain 3 life. I think I'm just going to take the Boros Garrison here. Fist of Iron would be good if we end up Selesnya. So what we're really looking to do, since we're drafting Boros, a Boros card, is look to overlap with another white guild, since there isn't another red guild. This is the bane of my existence. I hate this card because it exists in EDH, and some people think that's a good thing. It's not. Congregation at Dawn, I don't know how good this card is in Limited. You search for 3 creatures, and you can put them on top of your library in any order. So you're basically spending a turn to set up your next 3 draws. I think a 1/1 first strike's probably poor unless you have a bunch of enchantments. This can kill a flyer. Seems like a fine sideboard card. Vidalcan Dismisser seems really good, although it looks super expensive. 6 mana, 2/2, puts a creature back on top of its owner's library when it comes in. I mean, 6 mana, 2/2 looks embarrassing, but I've seen this card in action before, and it's pretty good. I think I probably just want Sky Knight Legionnaire. It's a fine aggressive card. There's also Terrarion for fixin'. This was in Eldritch Moon, Shadows over Innistrad, one of those sets. First strike and vigilance, 2 mana or 3 mana, 2/1. Land destruction. This seems unplayable. But yeah, let's stick to Boros for right now. Alright, Aura Touched Mage enters the battlefield, search for an aura that can enchant it, and it's on the battlefield. You attach it to it, otherwise reveal the aura and put it into your hand. Cleanse and Beam seems interesting. 2 damage to a creature and each other creature that shares a color with it. Caregiver, sack a creature, prevent the next 1 damage. Oh, no thank you. I don't think that's good. Again, correct me if I'm wrong as I'm going through this, because I'd like to do more of these drafts. This seems good if we can pick up some auras. Cleanse and Beam also seems fairly strong against some of the token decks and against some of the go wide decks. Cleanse and Beam deals. So Radiance is a weird mechanic. It basically bounces an effect onto all other creatures that share a color with the target. That's how all Radiance cards work. But that can hit your creatures too. I didn't know this was in Ravnica. 9 mana, 4/5 flyer. Counter the first non-creature spell that each player plays each turn. Boros Fury Shield can be good. Prevents combat damage from a target attacking or blocking creature, and if you spent red to cast it, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to the controller. Goblin Fire Fiend, 4 mana, 1/1, must be blocked if able. It's one. Oh, this seems terrible. This seems just exceptionally bad. Peel from Reality is a sweet card. Seeds of Strength is also decent. I don't know about Germination. I know this format's a little slower. 5 mana, 3/3, sack it to destroy target land. Flight of Fancy is also pretty dope. I think I'm going to try out this Boros Shield. Just stay on color. Terraformer. Ugh. Alright. 1/5, when it's dealt damage, you gain a life. Okay. 3 mana, 2/2, Mountain Walk. What is Rally the Righteous? Untap target creature and each other creature that shares a color. Those creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn. This can untap my opponent's creatures too, but it does seem like if we're going to go wide here, that's kind of the type of card I want, right? It's basically Trumpet Blast. Currently, all of my creatures are white, so untap three creatures, give them +2/+0. Kind of a go wide type effect. This is a neat little card. I love reading it. Yeah, let's try it out. I don't know if Boros is good in this set or not. Goliath Spider, 8 mana, 7/6 reach. I don't know how much removal there is. Convolute was in, I think that was also in Shadows over Innistrad or Eldritch Moon. Sewer Dreg, sacrifice exile card from a graveyard. 5 mana, 3/3 with Swamp Walk seems fine. Maybe we just want Spelunkers. Seems like a pretty poor card. Maybe we should diverge into different color. Like I said, there's no Izzet, so we don't really want to be blue, even though blue looks like the most open color, so maybe that's a sign we should be taking blue. Could take this Goliath Spider. It doesn't really fit with what we want to be doing. Guess I'll drift into blue. Just because it's open, not necessarily because it's the right thing to take. Muddle the Mixture. What is Dryad's Caress? Gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. Untap all. Nah, kind of off of that. This card's so bad. Guess it blocks and trades, then that's fine. This card seems fine. 2 mana, 2/1. You can jump it with flying. Rain of Embers. 1 damage to each creature and each player. And then there's this Junk Troller again. Oh, this is an 0/6. That's kind of funny. This is probably the correct pick, but Let's go ahead and take this Rain of Embers here. Alright, here's this guy again. This guy is a 4-mana 4/1 that can prevent damage to himself. This just gives Radiance haste. So there's a Sadistic Augur Mage. When it dies, each player puts the top card from... Yeah, so Demir's like a mill theme, I guess. This card seems poor as a 1 toughness creature, so I guess I'll take this little 6-mana dude, bump up my creatures, give them all vigilance. Seems like a bit of a combo with cards like this. Not impressed with anything here. I think this destroys... Oh no. Sack it, create a 1/1 white spirit with flying at the beginning of the next end step. It's probably fine. I don't think this is good. And again, if we branch into Selesnya, that's fine. No. Not today, but... Sack 3 lands, so this loses Defender until end of turn. 1 mana, 3/2. Destroy target land. Sky Sweeper to deal with flyers. I don't know. Guess we'll take the potential sideboard card. Thought Picker Witch. Sack a creature, look at the top 2. Is this a cycle? That must be a cycle of cards. I kind of like this dude. You can force all creatures to block it, and it's a 4-power creature. Not super impressed with how we're drafting so far, but then again, I don't really know. Hopefully that doesn't have to make the cut. Okay, Firemane Angel. This is a 6-mana 4/3 with flying and first strike. You gain a life if it's in your graveyard or on the battlefield during your upkeep. And then you can pay a whopping 10 mana to put it back on the battlefield on your upkeep. There's also another Sky Knight Legionnaire. Voyager's Staff, sacrifice it, exile target creature, return the exile... Ooh, no thank you. I guess that's good with ETBs. Dogpile is a removal spell. Basically hits a creature equal to the number of creatures you control. Also hits a player. There's a Signet here, and Signets are always good. There's also a Dimir Guild Mage, and I think all the Guild Mages are good. Plus there's Scatter the Seeds, and I remember playing with this card before. It's pretty good. But let's go and try out the big Flying Angel thing. Again, for the sake of trying out some rares, I wouldn't mind the Sanctuary either. The Sky Knight Legionnaire, I guess I'd play Dogpile. And I don't think I want a second of this card. Don't think I want this. So what is Wojek Siren? Target creature and each of the creature that shares a color gets +1/+1. If this come back, I'll be happy. Let's go and take this. I don't think this doesn't strike me as like a bomb. Ooh, Master Warcraft's a card I'm aware of. Leashling. 6 mana 3/3. Put a card from your hand on top of your library. Return this to its owner's hand. Well then. This is one of those cards that gives a bonus if it's enchanted. Festival of the Guild Pack. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to you this turn. Draw a card. There's also Last Gasp. This seems very good. I'm assuming it's probably one of the best commons in the set. Just super efficient removal. Kills almost everything. Like, just look at this pack. Bramble Elemental, sweet. Whenever you put an aura on it, you get 2 1/1 Saprolings. There's also this 2/5 Defender. You draw a card. But Master Warcraft's sweet. I've played against this in Commander. I don't know how good that is. Basically, 4 mana, you choose which creatures attack and which creatures block this turn, and you can do it at instant speed. So you can either force your opponent to attack into your creatures, or you can just cast it on your turn and say nothing blocks. We'll try it out. Seems pretty strong. Perilous Forays, good commander card. Another compulsive research here. Ooh, Selesnya Evangel. What is this slasher here? Gets +1/-1 until end of turn. Okay, so it can attack as a 2/1 instead of a 1/2. And these cards probably get better if you have enchantments like Flight of Fancy. Well, I guess that doesn't give a power toughness boost. Fun little story. This is one of the first cards I ever owned. Grayscaled Gahriel. 1/1 Island Walk. Basically your Slither Blade. I don't even think this was good in a set like this. But fun fact of the day, when I originally started playing Magic, it was while Ravnica was the current set. And this is one of the first cards I owned. That was before I really got into Magic. I just happened to have one of these and probably still have it somewhere. There's another Dismisser. There is a Compulsive Research. So the blue is definitely flowing this pack, but I think I'll go ahead and take Selesnya Evangel. This is a pretty sweet card for going wide, and Selesnya and Boros seem like they go together pretty well. Also a cool card. Instill Furor. 2 mana. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this creature unless it attacked this turn. I guess you put that on an opponent's creature and either force them to attack or like kill a defender or something like that. There's another commando here. Dimir Machinations, yeah. Transmute cards seem okay. Cling in Darkness. Enchanted creature gets -4/-1. That seems decent. Guess there's an Aqueduct, but it's actually on the 3 colors we're not even interested in playing. If this was basically any of the other 3 Karus, we'd take it. I wonder how good Followed Footsteps is in Limited 2. But we have to take a card. I guess this can kill defender creatures or force creatures to attack at the very least. Doesn't seem very good. You would never put it on your own creature either. Guess we can try it. Light of Sanction, 3 mana, prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control by sources you control. Okay, so this basically stops your Radiance cards from killing your own creatures, I assume, is the idea. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. It's a rare? It seems really bad. This also seems like it doesn't necessarily have to be a rare. I guess there are cards like, I don't know, Bright Flame? That might not even be in this set. Doesn't seem like there's very much else we want here. This card seems excessively bad. Must be blocked if able. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Guess it eats a creature, but Barbarian Rift Cutter might be okay. Seeds of Strength would be fine if we were like super heavy on creatures. Maybe just take that. I don't think this card is super good in multiples. Yeah, let's go and take the Seeds of Strength. Oh, +2/-1 for a life. Mnemonic Nexus. Each player shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library. Okay, well, sure. Oh, there's a Selesnya Signet. I don't mind that. What does this Radiance card do? Destroy target enchantment and each other enchantment that shares a color with it. Haha. This is an enchantment set. I think Screeching Griffin's probably good too. 4 mana 2/2 flyer. Can't be blocked for red mana by target creature. Seems fine. What does this one do? Whenever a land enters the battlefield, untap it. And then you can tap it the untap target land, so you get to kind of go off, which is pretty good. Anything that interacts with the land seems like it has a little bit of extra value when these are such high picks. Ooh, these are commons, but they were uncommons. I'll go and take the Signet, though. It helps me splash the green cards. Choose a card name, target player, with the name revealed if it's the rest of the graveyard, puts the chosen name. Okay, that's too convoluted. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature or player this turn. It seems okay. Sunder and Vitae is good. I think I might take this Guardian. Convoke it out. 4/7 for 8, but it has Convoke and Vigilance. Convoke meaning that you can tap creatures to reduce the cost of it, and if those creatures share a color with it, you can actually reduce the colored requirement, so I could tap a green creature to pay for the green mana cost there. Farseek also seems like good mana fixin'. It's a green spell that goes and gets your non-green lands. Kind of like this as kind of a big finisher. I still think this card's pretty poor. There's still a Compulsive Research in this pack. This is good, right? Compulsive Research is a very good card. Selesnya Sagittarius. This is a 5 mana 2/5 reach that can block an additional creature each combat. Seems okay. I don't think our deck's coming together very well. We got like these weird aggressive creatures and then other stuff. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we can flood the board and then try to win with something like this. Card also seems fine, just a decent blocker. Compulsive Research is strong, but I kind of want to stick to my guns now. War Torch Goblin, sack it, deal 2 damage to target blocking creature. There's also Dogpile, deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of attacking creatures you control. I kind of missed that part. It's a little bit of a wonky spell. It's probably fine. I mean, we need some sort of removal, right? This punishes creatures for blocking, but it's an onboard trick, easier to play around. Maybe I take this Bramble Elemental now. It's double green, though. Do I even have any auras? Not really. Leashling just seems bad. Put a card from your hand on top of your library to return it to your hand, and this is an uncommon. I'm kind of curious what this is an uncommon for a reason, right? I must be missing something with that card. All right, we'll take this Dismisser, possibly even splash if we end up with like some random blue splash. Convolute, quick change. Target creature becomes the color or colors of your choice until end of turn. It's like, suck it, Radiance. Ooh, that seems insane against Radiance. If you're like blasting a creature for a bunch of damage, and then you change it to a color that matches your opponent's creatures. Guess I'll take the little foil uncommon here. Drake Familiar. Enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an enchantment to its owner's hand. Ooh, you can return an opponent's enchantment with that? That's pretty sweet. Although I don't think that ever comes down on turn 2, right? And the foil forest to go with it. Uh-huh. I don't really know what we're doing. I think it's probably pretty clear. There are people yelling at me. Like, I feel like I could have just been a good blue deck here. I don't know about blue-black necessarily. Dimir is the only blue guild in this set. There's no Izzet or anything like that. Well, this card I don't think is good. You flip a coin and it either comes in as a 5/2 or a 2/5. Greater Forgeling is 3/4. Pay mana to give it +3, -3. Seems okay. Troll Hunter or Trophy Hunter deals 1 damage to target creature with flying. Okay, I already like that. Whenever a creature with flying dealt damage by Trophy Hunter dies, put a 1/1 counter. Pretty sweet way to gun down flyers. There's this thing. Ooh, another Fangtail is fine. Last Gasp, Rot Farm, Ironwood. This card seems decidedly bad. How good is Forgeling? I think if I take a double red card, I'd just take the Pinger here. Trophy Hunter actually seems decent. 3 mana 2/3 is probably not embarrassing in this set. I don't know how many flyers we want to deal with. Cards like this. It doesn't have reach either. That's kind of weird. Fist of Ironwood is probably better with my deck. Although I have to have an early game creature to really put that on and make it go off. Do I just want Fangtail here? It's a 4 mana 3/3 that pings. Probably fine. I think I'll take that. This card's awesome. You can pause the video and read it. I'm not going to read it for the sake of time. No. What is this one? Radiance tap. Prevent the next 1 damage dealt to target creature and all other creatures that share a color. Here's another one. Ooh, there's Selesnya Sanctuary and Scatter the Seeds. Scatter the Seeds is super good, but it's another double green card. Or at least I'm assuming this is just as good in this format as it was in whatever Modern Masters set it was in. Selesnya Sanctuary is probably just more consistent for my deck. I don't think I'll get this back. The one from the first pack didn't come back. This card's interesting. It's basically just prevent a bunch of damage. What is Indentured Oath? 4 mana 4/3, prevent all damage that it would deal to red creatures. Seems fine. Ooh, Galvanic Arc. Didn't know that was in the set. I guess it makes sense. This is basically a cycle. There's also another Sanctuary, which makes me wish I'd take in the Scatter Seeds. So this is basically a source. I guess it's an enchantment that gives an enchanted creature first strike, but it also deals 3 damage to a creature or player when it enters the battlefield. So it's kind of like sorcery speed open fire for those of you savvy to newer sets. And you have to have a creature to put it on, though. Also, a little bit of a combo. Ugh. Ravnica is just home to some of these ridiculous rares. Golgari Rotworm. I don't think I can pull off the Black Splash. I mean, no, I don't have the Golgari Signet. Working Informant, Gatehound. So bad without enchantments. Peregrine Mask gives a creature Defender, which is stupid. Ooh, Tidewater Minion. Yep, probably could have been a decent blue deck. This seems bad too. Random regenerate creature. There's nothing I want in this pack. Am I missing something? Is this fine? I guess I could play it. Regenerate target creature. At the next end of combat, destroy all creatures that blocked or were blocked by it. That's the only card I can actually play here. Kind of want this random Mind Moil, but I don't know if this is worth money or not. Could be. I don't know. I'll take the only playable card until I really understand what I'm doing. Alright, well there's another Garrison. I guess I don't want too many of these bounce lands. Nullmage Shepherd, tap 4 untapped creatures you control, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Decent card. This is also fine and very castable in my deck. I think I do just want more creatures here. Garrison is nice, of course, but we do want to up the creature count. This is also for my one Radiance card. Counts as both a green and white creature. So I'll go and take that here. Searing Meditation, 3 mana. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, deal 2 damage to target creature or player. Well, we didn't take a lot of ways to gain life, so I don't think this is very good. 2 mana 2/2 might just be what I want, even though it's 2 mana 2/2 with downside, which is super annoying. This card seems fine. Goblin Spelunkers would be okay. I'd probably play this. Yeah, let's just take the 2-mana 2/2. Concerted Effort. Oh, this is the one that spreads around your abilities. Tap target creature, then return this to your hand. What? Why? Ooh, Seed Spark. Coal Hauler Swine. Whenever it's dealt damage, deals that much damage to each player. That's a little risky. Kind of like Seed Spark. Destroy an artifact or enchantment, and when you paid green to cast it, you get 2 1/1s. What are my abilities looking like? I guess I have Vigilance, Flying, First Strike, Reach. Yeah, we got some abilities. Haste is pretty nice. This is an enchantment, though, and it doesn't do anything if you don't have the other abilities. I guess I'll just take Seed Spark. Maybe not main deck that. Double green, not going to cut it here. I would hate to play multiples of this. This card just seems bad, but not really in the department of doing whatever the heck we want here. I don't know. Is this better? Prevent. This seems worse the more colors are spread out. Brown Scale seems like a fine card, but we're not going to take a double green 3-drop here. We're probably not even playing Bramble Elemental. And I'll have to heavily consider all the green cards. Okay, well, take the 4/1. Alright, Molten Sentry is back. There's also a Rot Farm, in case we want to splash some random black card, but it's not really what we want to be doing. Prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to you or target creature. That just seems so bad. I know it works with tokens, but yes, we take Molten Sentry. 5/2 with Haste or 2/5 with Defender, both of which are fine cards, but neither of which are great cards. Recollect, Rally the Righteous. I'll go and take this Goblin now. Card seems playable, but not great. Ooh, this guy came back. I almost picked that guy the first time. Prevent all damage that he would deal to red creatures. Seems fine. Look at all these 4-drops. What have I done? Look at all these blue cards that are coming back. Like, this all seems bad. I guess I'll take the Seismic Spike. Maybe Land Destruction is like sideboardable on account of there being these Karus in the set. Alright, so we probably just made a billion mistakes and are in a bunch of colors that we shouldn't be in. Like, we started off taking some aggro cards, I guess, and then shifted into just taking junk because we could. Don't think we're going to play Dismisser here. This is actually not just straight up green card. I don't know how I feel about this. Regenerate target creature. Destroy all creatures that blocked or were blocked by it. It's basically Sandblast, right? Sort by mana cost. Now, we do have 1 Signet. Well, I guess that's the only ramp we really have. This is also not always going to be an 8-drop. I don't know how I feel about this card. First things first, we want to cut some 4-drops. I think we're going to cut this. Seeds of Strength does not seem amazing in our deck. If we had more token generation, that'd be one thing, but first thing that's staring me in the face here is cut some 4-drops. I guess I'll keep Seed Spark as a sideboard card. Seems like a good sideboard card. Probably also playing at least 17 lands. Possibly 18. I think 17 and a Signet is good, though. Fangtail's good. I don't think this guy's very good. I don't think this is good either. 5/2 with Haste is like a real card. 2/5 Defender is a good blocker. Cleansing Beam? Oh, we're going to go ahead and drop. Oh, this is a 5-drop? What in the world? This is awful. It's a camel, though. You don't get too many of those. Galvanic Arc is good. And this seems like what our deck wants to be doing. This gets a lot better with cards like this where you can use the Radiance to affect white and green creatures at the same time. Don't know how I feel about this Coal Hauler Swine. It's probably fine. It's a Boar Beast. It's a weird creature typing. Kind of like this Angel. Seems pretty sweet. Seems like it's fragile, though. 6 mana for a 3 toughness creature when you have cards like this at common. Earthsworn Giant also seems fine. Yeah, this seems like an okay card. Other creatures you control, it doesn't affect itself, obviously, but Pumping up some of your tokens, some of your smaller aggressive creatures, and giving them vigilance lets them get in. Plus, it's a pretty good combo with cards like this, with tap abilities, where you still get to attack with them, and then you also get to use their abilities. I don't know if I'm feeling Seeds of Strength in this deck. Yeah, this deck seems bad, but I don't know for sure. Transluminant. This could probably be an okay card. Greens are splash, though. We have 3 green cards. Do we want to splash this? Doesn't seem necessary. So maybe I cut this guy, the little reach dude. So I'd be a little more interested in attacking than blocking. This leaves me with actually 22 playables, or 22 in the deck, so I'd actually have to add another card in. Decent sideboard against token decks. This one I'm not entirely sure is good. Beginning of your end step, sacrifice it unless it attacked this turn. I mean, I can force creatures to attack, I suppose. Eh. All these cards just seem meh. This is bound to hit something, right? I mean, this is an enchantment set. There are times that I'd cast this and not actually use the green mana either, which is a little bit on the disappointing side. But we are going to add one more card back to the deck, I think. I really wish I could play this, but I don't have an easy blue splash. I do have 2 ways to kind of splash the green mana, which makes me feel fine about having these 2 green cards, even though this is better as a 2-drop, I think. This isn't really a green card if we don't need it to be. Alright, what do we want to add to the deck? That's what we really need to focus on. Transluminant is a fine card. Kind of weird, but a fine card nonetheless. And an aggressive 2-drop, or at least a 2-drop, I should say. So I'm between this and I don't even know, like, half of our cards just seem pretty meh like this. So we'll go and add another 2-drop to the deck. I'm not a big fan of adding 2-drops to the deck that are our splash color, though, so that seems pretty bad. Not having real knowledge of the format hurting me here, but that's why I kind of did this, is to kind of go with instinct rather than do copious amounts of research. And maybe that doesn't make for entertaining drafts, but it definitely makes me think about things a little bit differently, based solely off what I know. Flying Defender and First Strike. Okay, if this gave some sort of like power toughness boost, I could consider it, but okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to put this little 5-drop dude back in, because playing a 2-drop green creature doesn't seem good when we're not going to be playing a lot of green sources, and I do think this one's justified because it's pretty good in the late game, whereas this seems like it gets a little bit worse in the late game. This card seems fine. Not amazing, but fine. Oh, it's an uncommon. That's pretty weird. I would have guessed probably not an uncommon. And we'll run this. So next job, figure out mana. Wait a second. Oh, Signet stays in. All right, we will play 17 lands here. We've got 6 drops. Technically an 8-drop, that's probably going to be like around here. And tons of 4-drops. So we want to make sure we're hitting mana. Guess we should sort by color first. By color. Yeah. Well, isn't this a mess? All right, we're going to go and throw that in the white pile. It's the green pile, colorless. This could be red or white, which has a little bit of flexibility, but leaning towards being more heavy red, more heavy white, and these don't really affect my considerations too much. So I don't want as many green sources. I'm thinking maybe I just want like 2 green sources plus Signet Sanctuary. 4 total would be fine, possibly even 3. So let's just do like a little preliminary thing here. If I'm playing 17, it actually seems decent. So if I were to add to deck like this, and I were to say Sanctuary Garrison, dump a red and a white for these 2, let's see what that leaves me with. I do that every time too. Alright, so that would leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red sources, which is clearly not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 white sources, which is clearly not right when we want more red. And 1, 2, 3, 4 green sources. So let's cut 2 more white for 2 more mountains, I think. All right, now let's look at this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white, and 4 green. I'm thinking of possibly 7 white is a little dicey when 3 of my white cards are double white. So I'm thinking of possibly cutting another forest for another plains. It doesn't help us to draw our green cards and get stuck on white when all of our green cards are actually white as well. Plus, half of our gold cards are also red, so I just want to be sure to cast most of my playables. I don't think my fixin's amazing here. Maybe I should have taken that second Boros Garrison or Selesnya Sanctuary when I saw them. But this is the deck. We're going to try it out. I have no idea how it's going to go. But hopefully we have a little bit of fun. And let me know what you guys would have drafted and what I passed up so that we can do a little bit better next time. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that little subscribe button down there. See you in the matches. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Timothy here. We are playing a triple Ravnica draft with just a collection of cards. We are on the draw here. Our opening hand has all but our primary color of mana, which are these two, but I also have 3 turns to draw it before I have to actually cast something. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of 2-drops, and I don't know how aggressive this format is. You can tell from the draft I just don't really know much about this format at all. Dogpile doesn't even seem good in our deck. Rally the Righteous is pretty poor in our hand. It's possible I just want to mulligan this hand, but I'm not 100% sure. This is nice. It means I'm going to guarantee a 4-drop, or a 4th land drop mana, I should say. But I have no idea what the expectations are here. And we're playing against Stu the Court Jester, who's on green. We just want to hit our mountain within the next 3 turns. Oh, you have an upkeep stop? But why? Hey, cool, we hit the mountain, so this does make up for not having a good 2-drop by at least having haste. Farseek. Alright, so Rampant grabs you any non-forest card and puts it on the battlefield. You can grab fetchland, or not fetchlands, but shocklands. I feel like Selesnya is probably one of the better color combinations in this set, so we'll have to watch out here. But see what my opponent jams, and then jam my Sky Knight Legionnaire. Attack my opponent for 2, assuming there's no dumb reach creature or something like that. Alright, well, this is the guy that pings flyers, which is the worst thing for me to have Sky Knight Legionnaire, so my opponent can actually just kill it next turn, and this will get a 1/1 counter. So it might even mean it's incorrect to play Sky Knight Legionnaire as long as this is on the battlefield. We might play that instead, actually. So I can play Signet, then play Sanctuary for turn. Go ahead and bounce the plains. This gives us access to 5 mana next turn. Yeah, I mean, my opponent would use his whole turn, but then this would be a 3/4, and he just gets to kill the 1 threat I have. Alright. Ooh, this card's super strong. Anytime a card goes to my graveyard, it gets +1/+1 counter. This just seems like a bomb. Like, anytime I cast a card, anytime I get milled a card, and I currently can't really play anything. Oh, we can try that one out. If it comes down as a 5/2 haste, it at least pressures my opponent, and if it comes down as a 2/5 defender, it can at least block Trophy Hunter. So I'm not really doing much else on my turn. Oh, alright. We're gonna do the Signet thing, huh? Alright, we got a 2/5 defender. Probably the worst of those options, but it's okay. Play this next turn. While we get beat down for 3 in the air. Dogpile and defender creatures. I love it. This deals damage to a creature equal to the number of attacking creatures I control. I feel like I should have just played blue. Okay. Make some 1/1s here. Gives it trample and also makes 2 1/1s, which is pretty sweet. Plus something else. You're convoking. Oh, opponent going off. Remember, if this dies, this gets a counter. Doesn't actually get a boost from the fists, which is fine. I don't love my position. Especially knowing that we just don't have a lot of removal in our set, or in our deck. Guess we'll go ahead and play this thing. I mean, my opponent can force me to block and kill this off. This goes up to a 4/4. He gets in with everything else this turn too. And if he has literally anything else, that's so bad. This has to block. All creatures able to block it this turn do so. Alright, so he gets to eat my 6-drop with his 4-drop, grow his Vulture Zombie, plus get all of the other creatures in this turn, and I'm left with that stupid Defender on board. And I don't even know if I have a way to kill this Vulturous Aven. That can block, assuming my opponent can't kill something here. Not the worst, I guess. We're going to use the Signet for the most part. That'll pay for the green-white. And then we'll tap 1, 2, 3. We're at 8. Opponent with 3 cards in hand. Again, we don't really know what to expect, but they're playing Selesnya plus Golgari. Rootkin Ally. Tap 2 untapped creatures you control to give it +2/+2 till end of turn. And all they have to do is get another card in my graveyard to make this zombie really relevant. Alright. Lockstone Gatekeeper seems super late to the party here. Activate. Use this. Play Gatekeeper. Pass turn, holding up. Righteous. Rally the Righteous. Seems like maybe it can do something at some point. This can attack as a 7/7. My opponent drafted the deck I wanted to draft. This is a rare, right? Yeah, it's a rare. Thank God. Card is bonkers. This card's even good in Commander. Oh no. Oh, this has got to be one of the best uncommons in the set too. Alright. I feel like my opponent's deck is good and mine is bad. So I'm probably going to end up having to use this. Oh, there's no way I win this game. I just have no way to actually deal with this. Let's go to game 2. Seems fine. Seed Spark is a good answer to... I guess it hits Fists of Ironwood too, even though it's not as good against Fists of Ironwood. Seed of Strength is kind of whatever. I think I'll bring in these 2 cards. Deal with tokens and 1/1s. Deal with enchantments and artifacts. Didn't really see any artifacts, but you get the point, right? This guy actually seems okay. Visionary Rally. Cleansing Beam seems strong. Go and cut. God, this seems so bad. I think it's terrible. Don't really know what else to expect. This actually seems like it could be deals damage to that creature equal to that creature's power. So this is a good way to deal with things like Vulture Zombie. Dogpile seems very poor. I guess it's a little bit better when we're on the draw, or when we're on the play, we'll take it out against people on the draw. This also matches up poorly against X1, so we'll go and make those cuts, run it back, and hope to at least stand a chance to my opponent's really good deck. Yeah, this seems fine. Still get the Legionnaire on turn 2, even though I might have to discard a card. Playing land into Boros Garrison when you're on the play usually means you have to end up discarding a card. We can discard Dogpile. Dogpile seems better if we get the jump on our opponent, but we don't have a lot of 2-drops in the deck. We certainly don't have one here. Alright, we will go ahead and follow up. Just hoping to actually hit basics here, so I don't have to discard a card. So it makes sense to play Boros Garrison on turn 2. Cool, so now I don't quite have to do that. And then next turn I can play Sky Knight Legionnaire, and then we can set up a turn where we play Boros Garrison later on. This ought to be decent too. Probably not a very first pickable card. This is going to be pretty bad if they have that Hunter guy, but right now it's dealing a little bit of damage, and getting ahead of our opponent is exactly what we need to do. Might have to take a turn off if I don't draw another basic to play Garrison and not really have a follow-up. Seems pretty poor, but that might be what we have to do. This card also seems pretty mediocre. Faith's Fetter is insane. When it dies, you may gain 3 life. Yes. Alright, well, too expensive as far as our stuff goes. Plus our opponent just put a 3-1 on board. I guess, no, I can't dogpile that. Wish I had something to use my mana on this turn. But I don't. So my opponent's going to know I just have nothing to cast here. Granted, I get to start casting like all my 4-drops. I don't know which one we cast first. Possibly Gatekeeper because it has the most long-term value. This just trades with this 3-drop. Can dogpile it off. I mean, attack and deal 1 to it. Shambling Shell, 3 mana 3/1. Sacrifice it, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Dredge 3. Look at these aggro cards. Where did this come from? Well, I can't block, so I will not choose any blockers. Would like my green mana eventually. Ooh. 1 damage to each creature and each player. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Alright, well, don't mind that so much. I can cast this. He sacks it to put a counter on this thing. So a little on the annoying side. Could keep this back block and hope he does something. That seems pretty poor. Dogpile kills this, in which case he responds by doing that. Guess we'll just play Gatekeeper here and attack for 2. Next turn I can attack and certainly kill something off with Dogpile. This card seems fine. 3 mana 3/1s seem okay in a format where 3 power creatures can do quite a bit of damage. Possible I just don't block this turn to make my Dogpile better. Plus whatever my opponent plays is going to come in tapped. Problem is if I kill this, they just gain 3 life. Do I block? That is the question. I could trade this for Centaur, I think. Could also trade for this. They put a counter on that, and then Rain of Embers doesn't kill it, so that seems pretty poor. Maybe I want to just trade here. Do have more 4-drops I can play. Yeah, let's go and make that trade. So we're basically swapping life totals here. Which I would say is not great for the aggro deck, but am I really an aggro deck? Not really. Okay, okay. So yeah, that's not bad. My opponent can make a 2/2 here. Ooh, and we drew the Seed Spark, but I don't have the green mana. So maybe I don't want to kill this yet. Thing is, if I cast Rain of Embers, can't do anything else with my turn. I think I just want to cast this. Attack for 2. My opponent could also be setting up a pretty big Convoke here. If I cast this, they're left with a 2/2 on board because they sacked this in response. Not being able to cast anything else this turn kind of sucks. And not having the green mana is pretty sucky too, because I could do that and have very good blocks here. Could cast Dogpile on this. That also seems bad. I think we're just playing this Indentured Oath. Attacking. I mean, what happens if my opponent convokes out like the 4/7 Vigilance next turn? Just don't have a way to deal with it. Might be right to Rain of Embers there. It kills a 3/1 and a 1/1. Leaves my opponent with a 2/2 on board. My opponent has 5 cards in hand, so I imagine they've got gas coming. Just play a bunch of X1s. That's what I really want to see. Oh no, my opponent has the best card in the set. Tap an untapped creature to tap an artifact or creature. I guess I can Seed Spark that, right? My opponent's going to get in for 4 here. Green mana off the top would be amazing. I wonder if they just attack with Shamble and Shell here. This card is absurd. Green mana, green mana, green mana. But or that thing. Alright, so question is, what do we do now? To each creature and each player. So my opponent's going to tap down my 4/3. I get to hit for 2. I get to play out this plus Seed Spark your thing. Or I can Rain of Embers this turn. My opponent only has one thing to do. Let's go ahead and let them go to combat, force them to use this first. The fact that I can Seed Spark this at a later time and potentially get the 1/1s is pretty nice. Yep. Playing out another 1/1's not terrible. I guess I should have played this first, although it doesn't really do much. Does my opponent also have a way to kill my Legionnaire? That'd be really sad. That card is so good. It's kind of like Opposition, but I guess not as good as Opposition, but Opposition can tap lands, which is pretty insane. Alright, let's go and do that thing. Let's go ahead and cast the Rain of Embers. And then let's cast this stupid goblin thing that seems pretty bad. Oh, my opponent F6'd, so they didn't get to use Shamble and Shell. Nice. So that actually cleared off their only creature on board. Or they could have sacrificed this to put a 1/1 on a Saproling, and then they'd be left with a 2/2 here, but they forgot to do that. Oh, they have another one, though. Or did they dredge it? Yeah, they dredged it for turn. Milling, Trophy Hunter, Runkin. This thing, when it's put in your graveyard, you gain 2. Alright, so opponent back on the sub-dual plan. I think if I draw green, I'm in very, very good shape here. My opponent gets to tap down 2 things, leaves me with this, I assume. The fact that you can just dredge and have a recurrent creature for this is pretty nice. Green mana, green mana, green mana. Even a Signet. I'll take a Signet. Not as much. Still only have 5 mana. Alright. Well, let's let my opponent do the tapping. I imagine you go tap, tap. This card is absurd. Absurd. Then I'll play this guy out. Tap. This has got to be a little annoying to use. Yep. Do I leave this back to potentially block the Shambling Shell? That might be correct. I mean, they can tap something down, but that doesn't seem great. I guess I won't attack with it. No, let's act like we've got a red card here. This could be pretty decent. Target blocking creature. I mean, they could like tap this to tap this and then attack for 2, but tapping creatures on their own turn is not what they want to do. What we don't want to see is a card that makes multiple creatures. But as long as they're at parity, oh god, they have the Faith's Feathers too. Why couldn't we see something like this in the draft? Just a clear, good card. Green mana off the top. Just attack here. Opponent is empty-handed. I am going to get to attack with one of my creatures. Not going to attack with this goblin, though. Alright, hit a land, a forest. You're going to tap on upkeep. This doesn't tap lands, right? No. Only taps artifacts and creatures. It's not opposition. It's not that absurd. I've played with opposition before. In Hour of Devastation, in fact. I opened a Masterpiece opposition, got to play it in draft. And that was incredible for me, not for my opponents. I guess I can cast this thing now. Seems like a little bit of a liability. Might be time to dogpile something. Both of my opponent's creatures might just be time to cast Seed Spark anyway. Let's go and see what my opponent wants to tap down here. Could also Seed Spark Faith's Feathers. That doesn't seem amazing. Yep, tap the thing that deals the most damage. Guess what I can do is just destroy this pass and see how my opponent wants to block. And then I kind of have the upper advantage a little bit. It'd be so much better if I had green mana, but I don't, so I can't really make that complaint. Because this can block here. I guess I can't even really profitably block this. So we'll attack for just 2. And do I want to Seed Spark this? Do I want to get a little fancy and try to Seed Spark Faith's Feathers, trade this off for something? I don't win that race. Any of these green cards would be good. Do I want to play Coal Hauler Swine? He goes tap Coal Hauler, attack again. Wait one more turn on the Seed Spark, I guess. My opponent is top decking. That's good news for me, but still not in great shape here. And the fact that they can always dredge back a creature means that this has to go in order for me to even consider winning. They might jam both creatures. Oh, they just don't attack at all? Ooh, that's fancy. And it gives my creature first strike. Alright, let's go ahead and let them subduel here. Okay. And, oh, they did not have anything else. So they might be planning on blocking this, letting me take 3, and then just dredging this back, or they just have something else. I feel like maybe I just want to attack with this, play Galvanic Arc, targeting this thing to get it off the board. And they have to use their draw step to get it back. They clearly didn't draw a creature there, otherwise they would have played it. Can't Galvanic Arc this, because then they sack the shell in response. Yeah, let's see if you want to make that play. Fine by me. Say okay. Go and cast Galvanic Arc on the 4/4 first striker. So I'll put this on a creature and then shoot a creature as an ETB. Seems like you can make some mistakes. Accidentally target the opponent's creature that you want to kill. Let's go ahead and target your shell. You can sack to put a counter here. Yep, okay. Opponent remembered it that time. Keep in mind my guy now has first strike, so he can pretty profitably block a 3/4. Although at any point, if this takes a bunch of damage, I'm not looking too good. Dealt damage, it deals that much damage to each player. 4/4 first strike's a real card, though. Let's see if my opponent decides to dredge here and guarantee that they hit a creature. Although this is looking to the point where maybe I should have blasted this probably a while ago. My opponent isn't pressuring me too much. But I'm still keeping up the option of destroying Faith's Feather and getting a surprise block plus 3 damage. That only works if my opponent alpha strikes me. Because let's say they have 2 creatures and they only attack with 1, and then I do that play and destroy Faith's Feathers. They can then use their untapped creature to tap this down, and I don't actually get to do what I wanted to do there. But I'm kind of at parity with my opponent. Dogpile is pretty good here. This hits players too, right? Maybe we can close out the game with that. Okay, they did dredge that. Brain Spoil. That isn't enchanted. Interesting. And Farseek. So they gave up their draw for the turn to get their Shambling Shell back. And again, I don't think the last card in their hand is this double black? Yeah. The last card in their hand isn't a creature, otherwise they'd be playing it, no doubt. You just dump all your creatures when you have this card. We're still kind of keeping up hope that we're going to hit a green source, even though that's not guaranteed. My opponent can go tap, tap, take 3. We'll play out our lands, I suppose. What happens if I Seed Spark of this now? Not much. Let's go and let my opponent tap down my stupid swine thing. Oh, they just straight up didn't do anything? It's because they can make this a 4/5. That doesn't seem great. So what I'm going to do here is attack with, let's see, if I attack with all 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there are some fog type effects. I don't know if that's what I'm running into here. Also not dead on the swing back. My opponent goes block, block, sack to put a counter on it. I can dogpile it in response and my opponent loses both creatures. And keep in mind, I still have that play where I can Seed Spark Faith's Feathers at instant speed. So imagine what I'm going to see here is my opponent go block plus block, sack Shambling Shell to pump this up. This is going to block this thing. This would trade, this would die, my opponent would take 6 here. I think I'm okay with this. There's no way they don't sack this. Oh no, they might just want to clear this off. So do I dogpile now? Forgot this guy had an ability too, so they can't really block the first striker. I'm going to say okay here. My opponent goes down to 5 this way. I lose a creature. I lose 2 creatures. They lose 1. But I think they want to get this off board, so they probably don't actually sack this to put a counter here. If I dogpile now, he can sack in response, and I actually keep my 4/3. Let's say okay. Kind of hoping he sacks to put a counter. Oh no, that wouldn't make any sense. He blocked the 1/1, so opponent gonna take some damage. What happens if I dogpile this? We both take more damage. Okay. So we put our opponent down to 5 there. See if they dredge again. They did. Ooh, they do have one of those 4/7 Vigilance plus a Civic Wayfinder. Pretty good card. 3 mana 2/2. Search for a basic when it goes in onto the battlefield. Here comes all shambles again. You gotta want to start getting aggressive, I think. And now I think the correct play is to actually Seed Spark this. Yeah, Seed Spark this now. That way my opponent can't tap on my turn. I at least get to attack with the flyer plus this Coal Hauler Swine. Now my opponent goes for the play where they block, put a counter on it. Playing that doesn't help me too much. And I don't think I'm dead on the swing back, so my opponent actually has to block the swine now. So block with this, sack this to put a counter on it. Or you could just block with this, I suppose. Let's see if I deal 2 damage. Nope. We'll go and keep up Dogpile for now. Yep. Make your guy bigger. Guess I don't want to auto-yield to that. Alright, opponent's at 3, so I actually have them dead with Dogpile next turn, assuming they can't kill me or gain life this turn. And they also did not dredge Shambling Shell because it doesn't save them here. Alright, we get to go to a game 3. Glare of Subdual, you say. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice the X creature unless it attacked this turn. Doesn't seem great. This is a potential answer against Vulture Zombie. None of my cards seem good. We'll just run it back. At any point, if we had drawn that green mana for Seed Spark, I think we were a favorite to win that match. But here, well, this is disastrous. This is a good card against their deck, and Evangel's good if I draw another creature, but this hand leaves much to be desired in that, well, my opponent went down to 6. I guess that's fine for me. But we're going to go, we want to see like no more lands. We just want to hit some spells. Even mediocre creatures are very good with Evangel. Gross. Alright, we will play a Sanctuary now because that at least ensures that I get to cast Evangel next turn, and then we'll discard a Mountain for turn, which is fine because we're super flooded. Get to drop this, hopefully draw a 2-drop creature would be the best. Ooh, Cleansing Beam seems good against my opponent. Let's go ahead and drop the Evangel. Oh my god. This is so annoying. Gotta be careful with this. Really have to consider it when it comes up. Alright, Wayfinder. See, like, if I were to Cleanse and Beam Wayfinder, it would also kill my dude. And this makes green tokens. Awkward. This puts it in your hand. So you get a basic and put it in your hand, which is fine. We're going to need to draw something. Like, literally anything that is better than what we have. 2 or 3 drop creature would do the trick here and let me start activating this ability. But this looking pretty bad when my opponent's playing 2 of the same colors. And force to your hand. Got it. Not a bad draw at all. Like I said, that lets us start doing our thing. So, don't really want to play the Garrison here. And you have to tap an untapped creature. So we'll go and leave that ability up. Just take the hit off Civic Wayfinder. I imagine they attack with it. But being able to start using this is great. And the cool thing about this is you can start using the saplings you get to make more saplings and keep up your other creatures as long as you can keep up another untapped creature and 1 mana. It's pretty solid. 4-drop. Alright, that stops activated ability, so we'll get our value out of this. Kind of annoying. Card is super good. This is a common? Wow. That's for sure an uncommon. Oh my god, more mana. So here we're probably just going to play Signet. Could trade this for my opponent's 2-2. Go and play the Signet. Go and play a Garrison, I suppose. Bounce the white. Do I want to trade this for this? No, I don't think so. Also kind of annoying, this kills half my creatures. Seed Spark would be a decent draw here because it has a target now, and I would also get 2 more 1/1s out of the deal. Just seems so bad with this Cleanse and Beam. I don't even know how good this is. Seems fine against my opponent, but not amazing. They have a lot of X1s, but they've also got like Vulture Zombie, Spectral Searchlight, sweet. It's also a Seed Spark target. Basically, a mana rock that taps for any color, but back in the day when a Ravnica was originally around, there was mana burn in the set, or mana burn as just a general rule, and you could use this during your opponent's turn sometime where they probably were tapped out or didn't have anything to cast, and you could actually mana burn them for 1. Alright, Rain of Ember's looking a little bit better, although still kills my creatures. Cleanse and Beam just wipes the board at this point. Are you serious? Ugh. Feel like our opponent mulliganing, having 2 cards left in hand, we'd be in a fine position had we drawn more spells, but we've drawn, what, 2 spells this game, and they're not particularly good against my... I mean, this is good against my opponent, but not with what we have. I guess we just play a land and pass. Seems pretty obnoxious. Oi. My opponent having that Face Feather also shuts me off my potential to really do much here. Just a big creature from my opponent is going to be impossible to beat. They're 4/7 Vigilance. Okay. So what's this, 6 mana? What do you have that costs 6? Oh, the Root can ally. Okay. Card's good. I think I just take that. Opponent can pump this up to 5. And it tramples too, so yeah, we'll take it. Put anything that's not land. Alright, not a bad card. This does at least survive a Cleanse and Beam. Can block fairly decently, force my opponent to do some stuff, block his other creatures, and my opponent's empty-handed, so I feel fine if we start drawing spells here. I feel like we're in a decent position. 1, 2, 3, go and cast this guy. Suppose I could attack into my opponent with this, which puts me in a pretty interesting spot. Oh no, it kind of doesn't actually. Because my opponent can block and use these two. If my opponent taps enough creatures on my turn, or on their turn, to the point where they can't pump this, I can actually use both of these to kill all of my opponent's creatures and somehow leave this on the battlefield. So if my opponent attacks with this, it's possible I want to block with the Safeguard, get my opponent to tap down enough creatures where I can then use these to kill my opponent's board. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is neuter. None of my stuff does anything as long as my opponent... So, problem is they only have to tap 2 creatures here. Oh, Cleanse and Beam's an instant? That's kind of interesting. What happens if I block with this? They go pump pump. Or if I double block, I can actually just... He can make this a 7/7. Yeah, just kill both my creatures. I think I'll just take it this turn, see if my opponent wants to like tap 2 of their Saprolings to pump it once. They might do that because they have Evangel. Opponent's got a pretty sick deck. Nope, just taking it. Ooh, good draw. How do I feel about a Rain of Embers here? At least kills this plus this. My opponent can make another 1/1 on end step. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can't go this plus this. Oh yeah, I can. I think I'm gonna go ahead and attack with this guy. No, just because it trades for a sapling. They can't use this ability right now anyway. Got to get it to the point where I can use my spells to kill this, but still. Oh, I didn't play the Fangtail. Oh my god. What are you doing, Tim? What are you doing? That would have been fantastic, too. Okay, so now I go block. Um, this isn't going to do much overall, so I'll go ahead and tap down the sapling, I think. Or let the sapling get in the way here. This doesn't trample. If I had played this, I would have been okay, I guess. I can at least start shooting down the creatures my opponent plays, and also make this die to rain. Yeah, we messed up pretty bad by not playing it, but guess what? We're going to play it now. That's 4 mana. Alright, almost at a turn where we got to go for something here, but running out of time to make decisions, too. That's not great. Alright, let my opponent go ahead and make a 1-1 here. Well, actually, we can do Cleanse and Beam at any time. Yep. Being an instant is nice. Let's see. I think we're going to go ahead and block here now. Force my opponent to use some number of creatures, 2 saplings. Yes, I'd love to gain 3 life. Alright, I think we gotta go for Rain of Embers here. So I can go Rain of Embers, deal 1 to everything. My opponent makes this a 5/5. In response, I can shoot it plus use Cleanse and Beam, take it down, take out all the other creatures on board, and actually start attacking here. So I gotta play this a little carefully. I gotta go Rain of Embers first. I gotta let my opponent use this in response. Cast this. Okay, that happens. Now, oh, actually, shoot. That doesn't work. Alright, well, I suppose at the very least I can go... Oh yeah, I can do this. So I can shoot this, and then when my opponent activates in response, I go Cleanse and Beam on this, and now I kill all your creatures anyway. My opponent would be left with a 1/1 here. So shoot a green creature for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opponent's left with a 1/1 on board. I can actually start attacking now. And then we play the Cell Sword Brute. Alright, I got straight up nothing for you, buddy. When this dies, I take 2 damage. So we gotta fog some big creatures here. Flood so hard. Yeah, well, me and you both, I guess. Oh, fantastic draw. Now, I think I'm just going to take a turn to kill his creature, attack for 4, play Thundersong Trumpeter, and then I can start getting through pretty much all of his creatures. This is so annoying, I got to specify. everything. All right, my opponent's going to have to play or draw very well now, because this can stop any creature he plays from blocking. All right, cool, we got it. I didn't think we were going to get there, but sorry to the opponent for flooding. I guess I mean I flooded at the beginning there. 6, 7, 8, 9 mana sources to my opponent's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, yeah, I guess they flooded a little more than I did. One extra land drop. That was pretty sweet. We'll play another match here. I mean, if I can beat Glare of Subdual, then I can beat anything, right? Plus Vulture Zombie? Those have got to be just bombs. I don't know. Not even sure we optimally played, but drawing that pretty much shored up the game for us. My opponent's like, what are my next 7 cards? My opponent had some of the best cards I can think of in this set, too. Faith Feathers, I did not realize was a common. This is absurd as a common. Civic Wayfinder, very good. Just all his card quality is pretty good, so that Radiance card really did work for us. But let's go ahead and try game 2. All right, guys, welcome back for game 2 of this triple Ravnica block. Managed to sneak out of game 1. Oh, God. All right, so this is the type of hand that you probably mulligan when you're on the draw, because 6 lands and no spells, one of which is 4 drops, seems terrible. If our mull just doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. This hand is probably worse, actually. Just having a giant convoke creature with no creatures and a spell that only works if you have creatures is whatever, but yeah, that's a good draw. I don't know that there are too many aggro decks in this format, so we've got time, certainly, and Evangel's pretty good if we get to stick that and draw another creature to follow up with. We've got the Signet to ramp us towards this. Evangel's also very good with Guardian. So we're going to start with, I think we just want to run the Forest out here. Play no, we definitely play, well, we can't play the Evangel next turn. All right, opponent has a Signet of their own, so we'll match them with a Signet. All right, not bad draw either. Using these signets is super annoying. I've watched a lot of people play like cube drafts online, which I don't draft too often, and they always complain about how you have to use the signets, and I can now confirm, pretty annoying. My opponent, a hybrid of Golgari and Dimir. So the Black-Blue Guild, which does a lot of milling and card draw and control, and the Green-Black Guild, which does a lot of sacrificing and dredging as their mechanic. Really cool. Original Ravnica, the entire block, each guild had its own mechanic, and they did that again in Return to Ravnica. Alright, there's that 4-1 that can force creatures to block. Not as good if I just play out a little creature here. Like, I will trade Evangel for it. Might even play that instead. I have 4 mana. This uses my mana better. This is a little bit better if it survives a turn. My opponent has a kill spell. Which would I rather them kill? Probably this, actually. So, activate. This is so annoying. So I want to click the Signet first, I guess. All right, we hit another land. We can play this 2/5 blocker. So currently this costs 7. I think I just want to block. The problem is if I don't trade this off and then I play more creatures, my opponent can get like an easy 2-for-1 or something. They might just kill this too, or force me to block it. Oh no, Compulsive Research. Fantastic draw spell. 3 mana, draw 3 cards, and then you either discard 2 or you discard a land. You'll also notice, just like with Odyssey, a lot of the draw spells are target player instead of you draw, which can be used in Dimir as a way to mill. All right, well, my opponent's not going to attack. I think I will. Can play actually. No, I only have 1 white source. So I can't play both of these. See if my opponent. Oh, they didn't attack. All right, they just want to make sure I get that off the board. Evangel is best to play first on account of... Oh, no, let's do it right this time. Signet, Mountain, play these. Because next turn I can play Thundersong Trumpeter and then activate. Something huge. Oh, Vidalcan Dismisser. Well, that's the card we were talking about. Is very good. 4 mana 2/2, put a creature back on top of its owner's library. Which means I'm not hitting a land either. It's kind of annoying. He's just basically making me waste my turn, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I didn't click the Signet first that time. I mean, if he just like chains these together, then I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Very good card. when I first started playing Magic, and Magic Duels was one of the first Magic Duels was for out for Xbox. This is like a card you ran into quite a bit. They put it in like your standard blue starter decks. All right, so my opponent, in case you missed it, used the Draw 2 mode on Consult the Necrosages, and then followed up with a Disembowel, which is a black and an X to kill a creature with converted mana cost X. So he played 3 mana to kill my 2-drop. Hit a land would be great. I guess that lets me play 2 things this turn, even though that's not amazing. So I want to tap as such. No, that's not how we want to tap. We have to actually use this. It's super annoying. So we're going to waste a mana here, but not a lot of other options. Alright, another land would be fantastic, because currently the cards in my hand don't really do much. Opponent has 5 in his hand and billions of mana, so I don't love our position here. So I'm not really getting to this. This currently, if he doesn't kill anything, costs 6 mana. I guess if I draw, no, even if I draw land, I can't play that. Ooh, Stinkweed it. Basically a 1/2 Death Touch. Doesn't actually have Death Touch. Target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So I am aware that this is a real win condition. Attack with this. Okay, so opponent's going to try to mill me out. Ugh. The worst possible land to draw. I guess it's still a land. It also guarantees I'm going to hit a land next turn. Could try to trade my board for this as well. Can't play anything else. I guess I could play Rally the Righteous, but my opponent just blocks with Stinkweed Imp. Another thing I could do here is tap this, say Stinkweed Imp can't block, and then cast Rally the Righteous, which would untap this, and I get to attack for 4. This doesn't really do anything on the attack. 1, 2, 3. I guess I could hold up the activation in case my opponent tries to block there. Alright, well, let's go ahead and just play the Garrison. Bounce Mount to my hand. E. Yeah, this is going to mill me pretty fast. I mean, it seems kind of slow, but it is a 1/4, and you can see, like, pretty low power levels here. I don't think you attack with Stinkweed Imp either. That's fine by me. Compare this to something like the Seer of Last Tomorrows from Hour of Devastation, which costs basically the same thing, plus discard a card. This is very similar. Alright, so 2/2 flyer that can regenerate. Well, that's fine considering it's very likely I play this. Ooh, good card. Not great against my opponent, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can actually get this on board. It's pretty bad against Stinkweed Imp. I could also play this and hold up the activation on a flyer, and that seems pretty decent. Can't give my opponent infinite time to mill me, but I kind of like that plan. If this uses my mana better, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I'll go ahead and play the thing that deals with some flyers. I guess I'd rather have that die than this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if there are any 2-mana counter spells. Opponent still has tons of cards in hand. I guess if they go to attacks, I say this can't block. See what we're milling. Mill 2 mountains. Alright, Signet is kind of what I want to see from my opponent, is just a bunch of mana. It means they're not casting real spells. I imagine they've got something for this. Oh, Snapping Drake. Okay. More flyers. That Radiance card seems sweet here. Pew, pew, pew. I mean, he can regenerate this one, but doesn't look like he has a very good attack. Also, I forgot to use this on Stinkweed Imp anyway. So now we're probably playing this thing. Could also say this can't block. Hope my opponent goes for some sort of double block. They can just block with Tattered Drake. They've got me kind of locked down a little bit, right? I'll go and get the big guy down. That's 3. Not casting any of the spells. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, let's get the 4-7 on board. We can start attacking through some things. Keep the mill train going. Alright, they hit my Flyer Dude and my Sky Knight Legionnaire, both of which could have been very relevant flyers this game. I mean, currently, they have 2 things that block very, very well. Even if they don't have attacks, they have a legit win condition on board. We don't know for a fact they're even playing green. Gift of Phantasm, oh, Drift of Phantasm. This is the 05. Oh no, they're transmuting, so they're going to fetch a 3-drop. Consult the Necrosages. Alright, they're going to make me discard 2 cards here? Or are they going to draw 2? Alright, well, I'll discard the 2 cards I have in my hand. Nothing I can do about that. Also puts me very dead to my opponent's board. Just don't have a lot I can do at this point. Give me the Radiance card. Shoot. Oh yeah, I gain a life off of that if it's in my graveyard. I can also pay 10 mana to put it back on the battlefield, which not very close to. So I'll play out my lands for that reason. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eh. So 1, 2, 3. Can get in like 2 damage here. We'll attack with this, and we'll say Stinkweed Imp can't block. The reason I'm doing that is my opponent can block with this and regenerate, and then I actually get to use this guy's ability to kill it off. So I imagine my opponent just doesn't block. And the reason I'm doing it to Stinkweed Imp, alright, that would have been a fine card on this board too. Anything that can swing past this 4 toughness guy. Alright, opponent just takes 4. We're going to go and pass 3 in hand from the opponent. I think we're in a good spot. It's just like a tempo deck that's going to get us eventually. Enters the battlefield, target creature gets -2/-2 till end of turn. So they're going to kill this guy. Yep. Well, there goes my potential way to keep attacking my opponent. I'd already be dead if it weren't for, Dogpile. That's actually not that great. I can't even attack. I suppose, like, I can attack with multiple things here, but my opponent can regenerate and use this. If I still had Witchmacallit, I'd feel a little bit better about attacking with, say, both of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But the fact that my opponent has multiple regenerations up here is not good for me. If I attack with both, then they block with Stinkweed Imp and this. I'm kind of almost locked out of the game here. I mean, I've got answers. Like I said, the Radiance card would be very good here as a way to shoot down at least this, potentially give me a way to kill this when used in conjunction with Dogpile. But at any point if I kill Stinkweed Imp, they can just bring it back for the turn. All right, so 1-3. Now this is actually nice that my opponent played that because it means the Radiance card now hits black creatures too. Yep. All right, we'll play that, and I guess we'll continue passing the turn here. Let my opponent mill me to death. I've got about 5 turns left here. Coalhauer Swine, not quite that great here. It's a first strike flyer is pretty decent. Still doesn't deal with this. It's a 1/3 that can't be blocked, but it transmutes. Transmute basically lets you pay 3 mana to discard a card, discard it, and go search for a card with the same mana cost. All right, so they're playing an 0-5 defender. I still see no way I can possibly win this game. I guess if I kill their mill guy, there's a plan there, but we're just using clock at this point. Next turn, I'm going to spend my whole turn bringing back a 4/3. 4/3 first striker that gets brick walled by an 0-5. All right, well there goes Cleanse and Beam. So let's go to game 2. I have no way to get through this. It's pretty impenetrable. um, this seems fine. Either force you to attack with things or those things die. Sky Sweeper also seems decent. Seeds of Strength maybe. We're gonna have to, I mean, do we see artifacts or enchantments? Not really. I mean, it hits signets. Maybe that's worth bringing in over cards we don't really want in this sort of matchup. Seems decent. This is pretty good against Stinkweed Imp. Seems bad. Yeah, our deck just seems like it does not match up against our opponents very well at all. This seems pretty poor. This seems excessively bad. Galvanic Arc's still good. Maybe I just want to take out these early game creatures. This is probably bad if my opponent's not going to be attacking me, to be honest. Maybe I don't want Seeds of Strength, really, to be honest. Sky Sweeper actually seems fine. Playing it more as like a 6 mana kill a flyer than a 1 mana creature. Alright, we need to make one more cut here. Cleanse and Beams actually seemed like it would have been pretty decent there. Molten Sentry. A defender is not going to help us in this game, and a 5/2 haste is so bad against everything my opponent's playing. So we're going to struggle here. I don't have enough removal to really stop my opponent from doing the things they're doing. Guess this can kill my opponent's first defensive play. We do have access to all our colors. Do need to hit a 4th land here. Kind of seeing the problem with some of these enchantments is that if you don't have the creature to put it on, it gets a little bit worse. Alright, so we will be able to cast a 4-drop. And Indentured Oath seems fine, and my opponent can't kill it right away. Opponent also playing a Signet. Well, Thundersong Trumpeter will be good at some point in this game, but I want to maximize my mana. Oh my gosh. So either my opponent plays something which I can then Galvanic Arc, probably. They could just play like the 0-5 wall, which this kills the 0-5 wall after a turn, or they kill this. Or they might just draw 2 here. I'd be okay with that. Yeah, they played Stinkweed Imp. Guess we'll Galvanic Arc that. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I just want to play Thundersong Trumpeter. But in Still Fur, I could also 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't do both this turn, but Trumpeter does seem good against Stinkweed Imp. That gives me the option of using this next turn plus playing Galvanic Arc to kill off something different and then stop this from blocking. In Still Fur on this seems bad. It feels like my opponent would just say, okay, That's fine. But we'll go ahead and activate, play this guy, play Sanctuary, bounce a mountain, and I'm just going to pass this turn. And hopefully my opponent just plays something that I can Galvanic Arc here. Otherwise, I will probably Galvanic Arc this and start jamming. No, that's not true. That's why we played the Thundersong Trumpeter. All right, Signet. Normally, if you're playing a bunch of Signets and you're not playing very expensive cards, I'm happy to see that because it means you're emptying your hand faster, but my opponent does have a lot of card draw. Compulsive Research, plus we saw 2 of the Consult, Consult the Necro Sages. Alright, just don't kill my dude. Oh, there's that Consult. But it's pretty nice. I get in 4 damage here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. I could also play this and then do that same play next turn. Maybe it's worth it just to get another creature on board, force my opponent to keep doing stuff. Putting first strike on this is not that bad. I'm also going to be able to naturally play this soon. Like I said, I can't give my opponent infinite time to just sit here. I think I'm actually going to use a turn to get this. Well, oh, they untap and put it back on top of my library. That's pretty bad. So we'll go ahead and just get in for 4 here. That means I'm not playing anything this turn. Yeah, Vidalcan Dismisser seems like the worst thing my opponent could play against us here. Or the worst thing for me. Like, if they just put this back on top, that'd be gross. I guess I still get to play this next turn. Should be a fine play if I'm not attacking. Are they going to disembowel something? Alright, Signet. Using Signet mana to make Signet mana. Love it. For all intents and purposes, you can, like, just count this as a land drop most of the time, if your mana's fine. But when you're actually tapping on Moto, you have to be like, okay, I'm using this mana to activate this one, this mana to activate this. It's kind of difficult. So 3 mana. Okay. Well, there's that stupid Banshee thing. Go and kill the Thundersong Trumpeter. This card seems very good. The Trumpeter is so good too. Okay. Well, it's probably Galvanic Arc time. These big dorky creatures aren't too good. So I can actually just play Galvanic Arc and swing because it'll give it first strike. So we want to put that here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not playing anything else this turn though. But I do want to apply pressure. Alright, and I think we'll actually kill off. Neither of them can really profitably block. My opponent wants to use their turn to get this back and pay 3 mana. No. We'll kill this thing. Alright, down to 12. And can't cast anything. Kind of feel like putting in Still Fervor on this, but I feel like it's just going to be very good against any kind of wall creature my opponent plays. At any point they bounce this, it's a disaster for me. Alright, they're going to Compulsive Research. Jeez, going up to 9 cards in hand. And they have to discard a land here, but so what? 4 mana, 2/2 fire, that gives a creature -2. Alright, discard Drake and Dizzy Spell. Guess that's just to transmute. That trapped creature gets -4, -1. Alright, well, we didn't bring in Seed Spark. Oh, if only we had a 5/2 haste. Righteous the Rally. Not very good here. So now is time to get this guy on board. And we'll just go ahead and ship the turn here. This still has a little bit of value because of the Rally the Righteous, but not a lot. Not a lot. 4/7 is big. It's not very good against a Death Touch creature. And my opponent having just a ridiculous hand size. Drawing 2 cards? Seriously? I guess they're not hitting land drops. That's pretty crazy. Alright, you got a 1/3 unblockable creature. I might go Sagittars. Ooh, I do have a Seed Spark in my deck. Oh, when did that happen? Alright, so I can Seed Spark off the Galvanic Arc and attack into my opponent's creatures. I could also shoot a Signet here. That seems a little bit greedy. Let's go and hit this thing. Pay red, and then we'll play green-white. 1, 2. Yep. And this is going to be pretty decent. I'm probably also going to put Instill Fervor on this thing. Although my opponent might block and dredge it back. I think they want to do that if they don't have lands in hand. There's no way they've drawn that many cards and not had lands. I'm gonna actually, I tapped kind of very poorly now, but I'm actually going to force my opponent to either swing in with it or lose it. I'm taking the 1 is whatever, but getting this stupid Death Touch creature. I keep saying Death Touch. I know it doesn't actually have Death Touch. It's a triggered ability, which Death Touch is not. But this was at a time before Death Touch was actually keyworded, so whenever a creature had that ability, they spelled it out. Whenever this creature deals combat damage, blah, blah, blah. A couple other cards like that. I want to say the Viper, the Snow Viper. I don't know what it's called. Orin Viper, is that it? You see that. Same with Lifelink. There are a lot of creatures that say stuff like, when this creature deals damage, gain that much life, which is exactly what Lifelink does, but because it's spelled out, it's actually a thing. Well, this is what I was hoping to save Instill Fervor for, but, I mean, this soaks up damage. It's not that great, and I also have Rally the Righteous to kind of get through this a little bit. So, question now, he probably just wants this to die, actually. Huh. Okay, so that's fine by me. Ooh, 4, 8. Well, if this works, I can actually kill my opponent this turn, because I can say no creatures can block. So I do want to keep up that activation just in case. So we'll go ahead and use, I like just using the Signet first. That's 2, 3, 4. Forgot this was in my deck. So assuming this resolves, I now get to choose everything that attacks and blocks this turn. And naturally, you might have guessed, I'm just going to attack with everything and say no blocks. I can even use Rally the Righteous to pump some of my other creatures. And if I wanted to, if this didn't just kill my opponent, I could actually force blocks in a way where my opponent loses some stuff. Basically, just do that. But that was 4 mana. Creatures can't block this turn, which is how it plays out a lot of times, which is what our deck really wants to do. So I think our opponent got a little bit completely screwed there, considering that they must have drawn 20 cards and just didn't have a means to kill things. How do I feel about this? This can get some of our 2 toughness creatures out of range of that dumb Banshee thing. Doesn't really help. I think this can target the same creature multiple times. That's why it's worded this way. If it said 3 target creatures get +1/+1, it would have to target 3 different creatures. This is an instant too. I think this is probably a little bit better than I gave it credit for. I guess I wasn't thinking that it can actually target the same thing multiple times. Dogpile still seems bad, especially on the draw. The Seed Spark came in handy. Sky Sweeper also doesn't seem amazing, although fine. Guess I'll cut the Sweeper here just so I don't have to mess up the green mana. Possible I want more green mana in the deck at this point. I have 4 green cards. I can cut a white for a green. That hurts my white cards, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can go down to 7 white sources for an additional green source here. And hopefully get a little bit lucky here against the opponent. I think their deck's very good, and they just drew so poorly after drawing. What they use? They use a compulsory rest and 2 punished. This is a definite mulligan, just because all of our other cards are double red. I guess I can play this if I draw a land, but Garrison Mountain, this seems a little bit better, but not great. I think this is good against my opponent. I will actually keep the Galvanic Arc on top, even though I want to hit lands. I guess I can't actually play the Evangel, but I can play the Brute. Alright, let's see a 2-drop. Let's see a Signet from the opponent. Oh, no Signet is nice. We're going to go ahead and play... Do I not actually want to get the Brute down and start doing some damage, or do I want to play Garrison and have white mana for next turn? I guess I'll play the Brute. That way if my opponent just doesn't do anything, then whatever, and if I draw an untapped source, I can Galvanic Arc. The con there is that if my opponent actually kills this turn, I don't have a target for Galvanic Arc. Also don't know if Disembowel is a instant or a sorcery. I have to actually look that up. Look it up after my next turn. Alright, so now I can pretty safely play Garrison and attack for 2. My opponent set their hand up a little bit. I having a Signet was kind of nice though. Garrison will go ahead and bounce. Okay, and this is the mill guy. When it dies, deal 2. I'm going to attack into that, and I imagine my opponent doesn't block because I can Galvanic Arc it afterwards. Oh, that's nice. I will Galvanic Arc here, just so I'm doing something. And it is kind of my opponent's win condition, right? Also, the first strike's nice here. So, kill that guy off. Pass turn. Disembowel is an instant. I just looked it up. Alright. I mean, this is kind of nice, like this cycle of auras. They're super powerful at common, but normally the problem with auras is that you get kind of blown out if your opponent kills the creature with the aura on it. Alright, what am I expecting here? I wish I'd stopped drawing these green cards, but I also did that to myself. I don't know if I should expect like a flash creature here, or if they're just going to use a removal spell. Alright, they are disemboweling, and I'm going to take 2. But I'm fine with them disemboweling that. Just don't have a play this turn. That's kind of bad. I desperately need green mana now, and I have good green cards too. If I had green mana, I could have actually saved my dude and hit for 5 that turn. I'll hold on to this as long as I can. Alright, opponent just drawing more cards again. Jeez. 7 in hand. They've got a full hand. I wonder if they're cheating on lands to play those signets. Seems good against my opponent. I mean, it's kind of just a dorky creature, but it attacks into my opponent's stuff pretty nicely. Also deal 2 to my opponent. Yeah. I can use that plus Cleansing Beam. I don't think I want to do that yet. Green mana. Gross. Because this would be so amazing right now. I think I want to save this Cleansing Beam for when it's going to do a little bit more. Like if my opponent plays out a bunch of blue creatures here, it could be quite good. Because I can attack, my opponent can block, and then I can Cleansing Beam off all their blue creatures. 5 mana. Tattered Drake. Yep. Alright, not a bad draw. Not a bad draw. So 1, 2, 3. That doesn't leave me enough mana. I can't really attack with it, but we're still going to play it. We do want to be setting up a board here. And we want to wait for a turn where my opponent doesn't have access to black mana. I don't see that turn coming anytime soon. We also haven't really put any pressure on our opponent. Ooh, you're attacking with the Tattered Drake. That's kind of weird. I mean, not really. It just means you have something. You have 6 cards in hand, right? There's no way I'd block it. You can still block this, so just means you play something else here, I imagine. Snapping Drake. Show me the snap. Oh, 5-drop. Oh, another Tattered Drake. Gross. Alright, maybe I can get my opponent here. Attack with both. Did my opponent see Cleanse and Beam? Block, block. If he wants to trade here, that's fine. But I'm trying to get my opponent to use the black mana. Like, if he blocks, ideally he blocks here, regenerates, and then I destroy his entire board with Cleansing Beam. Don't see that happening, but he could just block here. Like, anything this blocks, if he chooses not to regenerate, it dies. Sure, I lose my Sky Knight Legionnaire, but it's not good on this board anyway. Could also take 6. Just need him to put this in front of something so I can kill off these regenerators. Oh yes, please block. All right, I'm gonna say all right, lock it in. Lock it in. I need him to not have anything and pay the black mana. And if he doesn't, I'll still use Cleanse and Beam, I think. Pay black, play back, pay black. Pay black. If he doesn't, I still get to kill these two in exchange for this plus Cleanse and Beam. Because he can regenerate the other one if he doesn't regenerate this one. But my ideal play is that he regenerates this. That works out in my favor. Actually, it just kills my opponent's board. I don't think there's a 1-mana blue spell that would get him out of this. And I get to keep all my creatures as opposed to him not activating. Oh, what is this? Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn. That's a little bit different. I can still use this to kill. Oh, he's actually not going to lose either of these. Gross. Oh, yeah, no, he has to regenerate one of them because Cleanse and Beam's still going to deal damage. Let's go ahead and do it to this one so that if he chooses to regenerate it, it dies before combat and I don't lose this thing. And if he chooses not to, it dies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I still get to play Thundersong Trumpeter here. Yep. So that actually removes it from combat, which means my Sky Knight Legionnaire won't die. Plus your other guys still take 2. You're going to lose your stupid Phantasm thing, and I save my guy that way. Dope. And I get to play this thing. That turn was almost perfect. There is a 1-mana blue spell. That's what you get for not knowing the format, Tim. 1 mana, target creature gives -3/-0. I'm fine with them using that there. Like, sure, they kept a Drake, but now I've got Thundersong Trumpeter online. And I mean, I have 3 uncastable cards to my opponent's 5, so this game's not over. The Banshee would be very annoying. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's the Dismisser. Put this back on top of my deck. Yes, sir. Also means I'm just not drawing green mana for another turn. Good little tempo play from the opponent. All right, now we go Thundersong Trumpeter on this, attack you for 2. And now we're back to the same board we were at a turn before, except my opponent has a 2/2 on board and is down 2 more life. Note that chump block in this does make players take damage. I mean, like I said, my opponent just rattles these off. I'm in a pretty bad spot. This is a common too. What's going on, man? This is like Mana War on crack. If jellyfish partake in crack, I don't know. All right, making me discard 2 cards. All right, I think I'll discard this plus Evangel. Evangel could help take over a game. Also means my opponent's hand's probably good enough. Like, if I draw green mana, this is decent against my opponent. All right, there's a little stinky. All right, that actually wasn't a terrible draw. Just let me jam this turn. So I say that makes my opponent use the most mana. I say Stinkweed Imp can't block. Attack with both of these. If he blocks, I activate this, force him to tap it. No, it was right to make this unblockable. Oh, I didn't even attack. That happens a lot on Magic, and it's just my misplaying is sometimes I accidentally go to combat and then forget that I went to combat. So I missed out on some damage there. Like, my opponent can chump or regenerate, and we both take 2. But that's fine for me. All right, killing Thundersong Trumpeter is bad for me. Very bad for me, in fact. So we are going to try to win through another, like, Master Warcraft or something. All right, we've got us a Snapping Drake. Come on, green source. Gross. We're going to play out all our lands. My opponent can regenerate twice. If I attack with this, he just blocks here. No, I've got nothing good going on. I was feeling fine about that game for a second, but I missed an attack, plus my opponent is outmaneuvering my plays. Like, if we just draw creature for creature, his matchup's so well against mine that my creatures aren't doing too much. I didn't get enough early damage in on him. And he's going to disembowel my flyer so he can start attacking. Well, I mean, this makes this a good draw, but I used my 1 board wipe. How do I feel about this? There's no way I'm winning a race here. But I guess I'll force this to come in. One, two, three, four, five, six. My opponent actually just has me dead in 2 turns. And I still can't attack this turn. Yeah, there's not much I can do at this point, unfortunately. And it doesn't really matter that I missed that 1 swing. I mean, it might have, but it doesn't. I would just attack with all the flyers. Huh. Well, I guess my opponent's scared of me killing them, but... Oh my god. Alright, yep, I'm just getting 2 for 1 too many times. 2 for 1, 2 for 1. I was feeling pretty good after that arc turn, but... Alright. 2, 4... Yep, my opponent's got me. Good game to the opponent. Alright, let's go and run to game 3 here. Alright guys, we're back for the final round of this triple Ravnica draft. We got out-tempoed in the last match. Misplayed a little bit, but the misplay didn't really have an effect on what we were doing. In that we wouldn't have won had we not misplayed. This card is pretty good, I think. Yep, I'll keep this hand. It has all of my colors. Can actually get me to a 4-drop, even though I can't currently play the 4-drop I have in my hand without another red source. Yeah, that's a good one. Not playing it for a while. This card's probably not great in my deck either. You want a lot of token generation before these Convoke cards start to look really good. Like Siege Worm is in this format. But we're going to try to sneak out this 2-1. So far I'm enjoying my matches. Do I want to play Garrison? No, I'd rather play Garrison during a turn where I can play something and then use Garrison and not worry about just losing out on mana. Plus this ramps me. Next turn I can play Safeguard. If I draw a red source, I probably just play Fangtail instead. Follow up with Galvanic Arc. These Radiance cards are so tricky when you're playing the same colors as your opponent. Another Shambling Shell, and it looks like we're Gruul. This can become a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard for 5 mana. So, Manland. Not all of the guild lands here are Manlands. In fact, this is the only one that is. But between the 3 sets, there was a cycle of all these cards that each have effects unique to their set. Now, this looks way more appealing now that my opponent played Shambling Shell, and it looks way less appealing if my opponent plays something that they can put Shambling Shell on. So we're still going to play it, because it is good against my opponent. Why is there not an option to actually pay 1? I must be doing something wrong with these signets. Oh my god, I need double red too. Alright, try that again. Boom. Plus double red. Got it. If I get to untap with this, it does mow down my opponent's X1s. I don't really know what to expect from a straight-up Golgari deck. I imagine a bunch of dredgers, but the question to me is, how do you put dredge to use? I guess there's like Golgari Grave Troll. We saw the power of Stinkweed Imp in that last game as just a flying, repeatable Death Touch creature. It doesn't look like it does much because your opponent doesn't attack into it. It doesn't trade too often. But, ooh. So we could be a little bit demure too. I'm less likely to see blue cards than I am green-black cards, even though that doesn't mean my opponent's not playing blue cards. I say that because they're playing this, which is probably better if you're like Golgari splashing blue, not Dimir splashing something else. Yep, and this is what I was talking about. So, is there a way to kill both my creatures with the Galvanic Arc plus this activation? If I play Galvanic Arc and I shoot this for 3, my opponent responds by putting a 1/1 counter on it, and then I can shoot it for 1, and yeah, so Galvanic Arc is going to kill this regardless. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and use our Signet, play this here. They would just actually lose another creature if they decide to do that. This is just a vanilla 3/3 for 4, but it has Dredge 3. It's also a plant hound, so opposed to a plant zombie. Yep, and then we go ahead and shoot this for 1, and I get to kill both my creatures now, or both my opponent's creatures. So what my opponent should have done is just let that die, and then they'd have a Shambling Shell on board. I mean, I guess that means I don't get to attack with this turn, but that wasn't going to happen anyway. That resolves. Blast or Arc comes down. Boom. And I kill off both my opponent's creatures. See if they start dredging is the real thing. Alright, let's see. The dredge is interesting because if you do dredge, you know you're not drawing a new card for turn. They did not dredge there, for the record. Probably because dredging these back doesn't do anything against a 3/3 first strike, but this card's good. It's basically, like I said, a sorcery speed lightning bolt or open fire, and oh well, I can attack past that. That's pretty nice. Geez, my opponent has a lot of dredgers, which makes this a lot better. All right, so they're gonna have 4 in hand, one of which is going to be a land. They bounce the man land back to hand, which makes sense. Gives them max potential colored mana next turn. This also given first strike is pretty nice. So our goal is to get some creatures down and then hopefully use Master Warcraft to end the game. Or use Master Warcraft to make my opponent do some pretty dreadful blocks. We're going to go ahead and play this thing. And then next turn we'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I can tap this to cast Guardian of Vitu-Ghazi. Okay, so we know our opponent has the man land in hand plus 4 other unknown cards. Again, no reason for our opponent to be dredging there. Access to 6 mana. Cleansing Beam not looking as good against a bunch of 3 toughness creatures, especially when one of them shares a color. I mean, to be fair, Cleansing Beam combined with this can take down a 3/3. But I do have to watch out for this card. Spogthos. I'm aware of this card's existence, but never really seen it come up in any games. I can block here. I don't think I will. Oh, they're going to do something before combat? Don't know what to expect here. Is this going to be another disembowel? Let's see. Grifter's Blade, 3 mana flash equipment. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature you control it could be attached to. If you do, it enters the battlefield attached to that creature. Okay, so it just gets an extra point of damage in? It's okay, I guess. Doesn't seem insane. My opponent's just going to let me attack me back. They got to have something, right? This card's so bad. I think I just want to attack my opponent for 6. I don't think we're going to see any flash creatures here. And then play this guy. The more damage I get in now, the better it's going to look when I cast our Master Warcraft. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm 1 away. It's possible that's not right. It's possible I just want to get this down and hit my opponent for 3. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's probably right to not do what I just did. Keep in mind, if things get a little bit too dicey, I can use Master Warcraft to force my opponent to block in weird ways. Like, if I end up not being able to kill this, I can force it to block here and then shoot it off. Currently I have 8 on board, so I can't kill my opponent with Master Warcraft, which means it might have been right to get this on board. Had I done that, my opponent would have been at 14, and I would have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on board, so still wouldn't be able to kill my opponent, but at least I'd have something that just completely decimates a 4/4. Spogthos can become a 2/2 for 5 mana. That seems pretty poor. My opponent with 3 cards in hand. I do like this name, though. It feels like it should be legendary, right? Spogthos. So do all of them. There's Vitu-Ghazi. There's the Nivix something something. All right, we're going to see something big here. Followed footsteps on my guy. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of it. So my opponent gets one of these on each copy, or on each turn. Well, don't like that. Do not like that. What do I do about that, though? I think that's fine for a turn. Alright, so I can hard cast Ghazi. The thing is, they get one, they can't block with it right, or they can't activate it right away. I can attack with the safeguard and shoot this off. Can't really attack with this. There's a chance they don't block, and then I can kill them next turn with Master Warcraft. Alternatively, I can cast Master Warcraft now, force them to block this, which basically eats their followed footsteps, and then they take 5 down to 6. Cleansing Beam doesn't really do too much here. This is a little difficult. Ping down to 10. If I attack with both, they block here. Take 3. So I don't think they'll block here. Keep in mind I get to play this turn. I think I like attacking with all of these. Let my opponent block here if they want to. I'll take 2 down to 11. I don't think I'm dying on the next turn. My opponent takes 6 down to 5. And then I kill him with this next turn despite any creatures they could play. Alternatively, I could attack with just these and leave this guy back. My opponent still blocks here. Goes down to 8. And then I can put him down to 1 next turn. Well, I still get to play this regardless of what happens. And I don't think they're going to block this because they just put followed footsteps on it. So I think I want to put my opponent in a position that kills them the most. I don't think they're going to kill the thing that gives them value. So I imagine they just block here. I'll take 2. My opponent will go down to 5, though, and I get to slam this thing. Yep. This guy's so annoying. Also has a dumb name. Just hard cast and 8 drops, no big thing. Well, it is a big thing. Hopefully my opponent's deck can't kill a 4/7 this turn. I only need 2 of my creatures to survive for Master Warcraft to kill them. I mean, yeah, it's kind of risky to give my opponent the card there. Like, if they do manage to be able to deal with 2 of my creatures, then I don't kill them, but I don't think they're going to be able to. And again, I can force some pretty bad blocks for my opponent here. Four mana creatures can't block, but a lot more flexibility than that. All right, I actually just want to see my opponent play out a bunch of creatures, just so I know for a fact this Master Warcraft's going to get there. Even if they get rid of this, I still win with Master Warcraft with my other 2 creatures. So as long as my opponent taps a majority of their mana here, I feel pretty safe. I mean, I guess I get got by Dizzying Spell a little. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Ooh, Siege Worm. Strong card. Does mean I get to win the game now. This was in M15 where they brought Convoke back. It's a 7 mana 5/5 Trampler. Okay, so no need to show my opponent the Sky Knight Legionnaire because I'm just going to stop them from being able to block for the turn. And we'll go to combat. Just attack with everything. Assuming there's, let's even assume that there's a 1 mana black kill spell in this set. Still win past that. So I don't think this card's very good. Is it enough to bring in Seed Spark though? Seed Spark doesn't do anything if it doesn't have a target. Can Seed Spark actually shoot your own stuff? Oh, he also has Followed Footsteps. We will bring in Seed Spark here. All right, opponent sees the writing on the wall. Seeds of Strength, probably not what I want against this opponent. Destroy target, yeah, it can shoot your own stuff. So worst case scenario, if you're flooding out, you can hit a Signet. That seems decent. What do I not want here? My opponent's just playing a bunch of 3 power creatures. Makes this look a little bit worse. Well, I'm sure we have a worse card than that. Goblin, the Torch Goblin. Dogpile's okay. Dogpile just seems like a bad card. This also seems like a bad card. This also seems like a pretty mediocre card. I mean, this seems like a playable card. I'd play a 4 mana 2/5 sometimes. I'd play a 4 mana 5/2 a little bit more often. This seems okay. We'll go and bring in the Spark and try to steal a game 3 from our opponent here. Instill Fur wasn't great. This random land destruction for Spothos doesn't seem great. If I saw an opponent who was playing a bunch of Karus, I would consider this. Basically 2 mana to blow something up, blow up a land, but I don't think that's where you want to be. Haven't really seen this card go off. Definitely seen this card do some work. I mean, it's Magmatic Chasm, basically. 4 mana Magmatic Chasm. And then the rest of my deck, pretty mediocre. This has impressed me a little bit. You can see how it's sometimes good, sometimes bad, and then the Radiance mechanic just being bizarre in that, you know, sometimes you play against a mirror match and you end up killing a bunch of your own stuff. Imagine there's a Radiance card that gives protection from a color of your choice to a creature, but what if you're trying to get through a bunch of green creatures and then suddenly you give all of your creatures protection from green? I don't know. Radiance is such a, like, I don't want to say a bad mechanic. It's just confusing, and There's a lot of play to it, a lot of challenge in figuring out like when it's the right time to do something. Fury Shield seems like it could be good against my opponent. Basically, 3-mana kill shot against the 3 power creatures. I'm going to keep this. Go land into Garrison into land. My opponent didn't show us a lot of 2-drops. That's an incentive to possibly... Like, if we draw another basic, we'll just play Thundersong Trumpeter and then curve Trumpeter into Safeguard, which seems sweet. Also didn't see any blue cards from the opponent. Now we probably just, well, we're discarding if that's the case. I don't think I want to discard any of my cards. So we'll play Trumpeter. Awkward draw on both of these, but it does mean that we're pretty much guaranteed to hit land drops for the next couple turns. Opponent using their turn to play a Signet is nice. Does that mean no third land? If they go land Signet 2-drop, that'd be ideal, I suppose. No. Okay, so they are missing third land, and I actually get to play a 3-drop now, which is sweet. Thundersong Trumpeter is very good. It's almost like a tapper. Probably worse than a tapper, but sometimes better. Okay, so here we'll go and play Safeguard. Next turn we can start using our stuff. If my opponent plays a blocker, I get in for 3 damage this way. Might even offer a trade, depending on what it is. If it's some dredge creature, my opponent missing lands is not going to start dredging creatures. Van Surfer 2 with your Sorin art. Do have some pretty good spells in hand. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by target. Ooh, this hits creatures on blocks too. Red was spent to cast it. It deals damage to that creature's controller equal to that creature's power. I really like this cycle of cards where they're basically gold cards. They're just weaker if you don't have the second color. My opponent bricking on their 4th mana. I mean, basically Signet's a land that just doesn't come in tapped. Wait, what? That didn't even make sense. Signet is very close to a land drop, but takes up your turn to play it on turn 2. I mean, I'm just jamming for 5 if you... Like, if I get in a bunch of early damage, I might just be able to win with this again. Without even doing too much. Anything I could cast would be amazing, because I'd be able to cast it and then play a Sanctuary. Not quite. So let's jam, see what the opponent does. They have a kill spell, right? They don't, then they take 5, and I get to just keep playing lands here. We'll go and play the Sanctuary, bounce a mountain. Kind of funny, you'll notice a lot of these cards reprinted throughout Master sets. The Karus, as they're called, were printed in Modern Masters 2, all at uncommon, which is why I'm surprised that they're common here. I guess they really wanted to get the multicolor set right. I know they had some trouble with multicolor sets in the past, being able to play all the colors and stuff. So it does make sense that these are common, but they're so strong. Like, you add a lot of value to your deck when you replace just a basic with one of these, even though I do like that there's a balance. You can't play too many of them. All right, this is the thing that can gain flying. Roofstalker White. 2 mana, 2/1. Pay 1 in a blue to give it flying until end of turn. All right, well, that means I'm jamming for 3 again. Oh, and you have an Elves. I guess I'm not jamming for 3 again. Maybe I am. Wait a second. My opponent didn't do anything last turn, though. They had one of these in hand. Boy. Well, not too great here. I guess I shouldn't have played that basic. I should have played Garrison. I don't really need to attack. This does give them an extra mana next turn. It also hurts them. I think I'm better just getting the most power on board. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Could also attack with something and Fury shielded off, but like I said, more power. I don't know what board wipes to play around. That's not true. There is a, I'm pretty sure it's original Ravnica. There's a like 7 or 8 mana white spell with Convoke that destroys all non-token creatures, but we're not going to see that from the opponent. I don't know what we're going to see from the opponent, but unfortunately I don't have a great attack here. My opponent can now start deploying some threats and even drew the land for turn. I'm curious why they didn't play one of these on the previous turn. But for them to just play a bunch of black creatures. Just boom. Prevent all damage that Indentured Oath would deal to red creatures. Haven't seen this come up at all. I don't know, maybe red's not a great color. Maybe that's why we're not seeing any red decks. It does seem like the control decks are pretty decent based on that second match. I think the token decks are probably really sweet. This set has the Autocathon Worm. It's like a 9/14 for 15 mana with Convoke. Super cool card. Don't think it's a very good card. Even in a dedicated token deck, like you have, I don't know, 7 tokens on the battlefield, thing still costs 8 mana for a vanilla. It might have trample. Alright, take a damage, take a damage. That means you need another black or you're paying a 5 mana. No, you don't take a damage here if you don't need the other black mana. You just tap your swamp first. And then use this if you need to. Also, not holding up the activation here means that you're probably casting a blue spell. I don't know what to expect here. It might be I actually don't even know what cards to expect. Like, I'm just speculating on cards I've seen during this draft. I will definitely be doing another one of these. Just get a little bit more feel for the format. Learning a few things this time. My arrogance, not arrogance, but ignorance showing quite a bit. Alright, we got us a Rotworm. 5 mana 5/4 is large. Pay a black, sack a creature, target player loses a life. Do get to attack with this. They're not going to trade Rotworm, and if they do, that's fine. I can also Fury Shield the Rotworm. Hey, stat check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I'd be able to play that this turn if I had played Garrison last turn, but I'm dumb. So, I like the idea of saying, actually, I can just say this can't attack, and then Trumpeter that, get in for 4, put my opponent down to 8, put him in lethal range next turn with the Warcraft again. Yeah, we'll say, yo, this can't block, or it can't attack, so don't even try it. Do I attack with both? Make my opponent trade? No. They could possibly chump here. I think that's fine too. This is going to be as relevant with me at 20 life. And if they don't have kill spells, they're tapping out for creatures, and if they tap out for creatures, I tap out for this. If I tap out for this, you tap out of life. So it does kind of suck my opponent bricked on that land, but there's a very weird play where they just didn't play one of these creatures, and they had the mana to do so. So let's go ahead and play our 5 mana dude. Play Boros Garrison, bounce a mountain back. Mana's perfect, can play this next turn. I think I took this because of the art suite. I don't know that it's actually good. I mean, a 4-power flyer with first strike seems like it matches up well enough. It's just the effect doesn't seem... It's 10 mana! Look at that activation cost. Has anybody out... Like, if you're watching, have you ever used this ability? It's like, you know how modern sets, they just print Phoenixes in every single set now, and then they put an activation cost that's like 15 red mana to deal 1 damage to your opponent? That's kind of what this reminds me of. Just the big generic Phoenix creature. But the art is sweet. Alright, play a bunch of creatures, let me kill you with this so I can 2-1 and be happy with myself. Don't kill a creature. Actually, if you kill this, do I still win? That's 5, 6, 7. No, I don't. Oh, if you use elves, that works. If you kill this and you use your Elves of Deep Shadow, then I kill you. But you can't really use this. This is a big body. 5 mana 5/4. This card was in Eternal Masters, and it was decent there. 5 mana 5/4 is a real card, especially this is why I really think that the overlap between Selesnya and Golgari is pretty sweet, because Selesnya makes a bunch of tokens. Golgari uses sacrifice effects, put those together, and what do you get? I guess I don't know, optimally used sacrifice effects. Search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as this. Can I not? Oh, okay. It's so you're gonna search for a 3-drop here? You can only transmute as a sorcery. This is counter target spell unless its controller discards his or her hand. So counter target spell. Except if your opponent doesn't have a hand, it doesn't do anything. To be fair, you can discard your hand as part of a resolution if you don't have a hand. Alright, so my opponent's going to go search up a 3-drop here because it has transmute. You have to get something with the same converted mana cost. But, I mean, they could play a land, play a 3-drop, but they have to take a damage to do that, and then they just die. And if they don't play a land, then they're searching for a 3-drop they can't cast this turn. So why, like, next turn, I'm just going to play this. Why not keep the counterspell in hand? They don't know I have Master Warcraft in my hand. But I'm a little confused. They've got to. The only thing that makes sense here is that you have a really good 3-drop in your deck, or you are feeling like you're super super dead and you're just grasping for straws. So we'll see which it is. If I were at like a GP and my opponent was taking this long to search, I would expect them to play a land and then a 3-drop here. This is also Transmute's also a cool ability. It brings up one of the points I like to make to players in Limited is that knowing your deck, knowing what cards you have in your deck when you're playing Limited is very crucial because there are times where players, and I do this all the time, I have an effect like this that lets me search my library for a specific type of card, and I just cast it, and I'm like, okay, well, what can I get? As opposed to knowing what you can get ahead of time and using it then. Oh, they're not going to even cast this. So 3 mana 2/2, pay 1 and choose basic land type. Each land you control becomes that type. So this is like a bad Realm Right. This card seems terrible. I guess it's mana fixing in blue. My opponent has access to 2 black mana. I don't know what that does for them. This can't hit creatures, right? Alright, well, we're just going to go Master Warcraft. Boom. I don't even think I need to do that. I do if I want to win this turn, and to be fair, I want to win this turn, so cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this one only costs 4. Boom, 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 boom. This is literally just Magmatic Chasm. That's how we've used it in every game. This has got to be good, right, in this format? I feel like board stalls would come up quite a bit in this format, too. Just big, dumb creatures with high toughness and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, you're going to have something for double black that kills 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, you didn't. We got there. I mean, we didn't get all the way there. We just kind of got there. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I punted a little bit. I know the draft probably went pretty poorly. But, I mean, we managed to sneak out a 2-1 on my very first Ravnica draft. So I'm pretty happy with that. And, yeah, maybe we'll do another one soon. Actually, I mean, I'm definitely going to do some on my own, but I'll try to record one, like a really spicy one or something like that. And thanks for the support, guys. I know a couple of you have been commenting on videos lately, and just you know, I appreciate it. A couple of you. Shout out to this D Rivers person who has been frequently commenting, as well as Tim Richards. If you still watch my videos, I don't know. Shout out to those people who've been commenting quite a bit. Keeps me motivated to keep doing these videos. And if you like this Ravnica draft, let me know. Very importantly, hit that subscribe button. And also, if you have any experience with this format, let me know what you would have drafted, what cards I passed up. I don't care too much about value. But as far as like skill goes, this was my first time ever playing Ravnica, so I know some of the cards from experience, but I don't know the limited set. And I'm glad to sneak away with a 2-1, learn quite a bit. We'll be back for more videos. So I'll go ahead and shut up now. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. Catch you later.